My name is Barry Jones, and before I got into insurance, I actually ran two landscaping companies and managed a golf course as a superintendent. So I have rented and leased more equipment than I can count. I've also seen the claim side of things, what happens when equipment gets stolen or damaged. And I really want to get into what happens as far as your insurance goes and where your coverage actually stands when it comes to equipment that's leased or rented. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. Now, most of you guys have a contractor's equipment policy, and it's sometimes called inland marine coverage on your policy. It's going to cover your mowers, equipment, skid steers, whatever you own outright. But here's the mistake that a lot of people make. They just assume that their inland marine coverage is going to extend to anything, or any type of equipment that they're going to rent or borrow from someone else. It doesn't unless it's built into the policy. You see, rental equipment falls into an entirely different bucket. It's usually called hired, borrowed, or leased equipment in the policy language there. If that endorsement is not on your policy and something happens to a piece of rented equipment while it's in your care, custody, or control, you're financially on the hook for it. Full replacement costs. Sometimes loss of use charges on top of that from the rental company. We've seen that quite a bit as well. Theft off job sites, tip overs on trailers, engine damage from bad fuel. I've seen all three from clients who rented equipment for a one-time job and had zero coverage for it, unfortunately. Here's the second problem, and this one catches people off guard all the time when they think they're covered. I want you to read that rental agreement. Most rental companies are going to require that you have coverage on that piece of rental equipment through your insurance company, or you buy their damage waiver at a steep daily rate, or prove you have insurance covering rented equipment at its full value somewhere else. They want to show proof. You got to show them proof that you have coverage on that piece of equipment, or you have to buy it from them most of the time. But if you sign that agreement and you don't actually have that coverage in place, you've just accepted personal liability for, let's say, a $60,000 track loader in writing. And to keep in mind, this isn't complicated to fix. Two things to keep in mind here. One, get a hired, borrowed, and leased equipment endorsement added to your contractor's equipment policy. It's usually inexpensive relative to what it covers, and it's rated on the total value of equipment you typically rent in a year, not per rental. So it's kind of like a blanket coverage is what it is. Two, read the rental agreements before you sign it every single time, because I've seen those guys change that stuff up a lot, especially when the attorneys get involved. Rental company insurance requirements aren't standardized. Some want a certificate showing specific limits. Some want you to name them as the lost payee. And if you if you don't hand that over correctly, you can end up with the denial of a claim, even if you technically had the coverage, because the paperwork was off or wasn't right. So something to keep in mind as well. Also, too, I want to be straight with you. A lot of agents don't think to ask for this until ask you about this until a claim actually happens. If your agent has never asked what equipment you rent or lease throughout the year, that's a conversation you need to have right now. Don't wait till after a skid steer gets stolen off of a job site. This is exactly the kind of thing that costs nothing to check and costs a fortune if you ignore it. If you're not 100% sure whether your policy covers rented or leased equipment, send me your current policy. Links in the description. I'll tell you straight whether you have a gap. No sales pitch, just an honest answer. Not trying to sell you anything or anything like that. Also, subscribe if you want more of this. Real coverage gaps landscapers actually run into, not just insurance jargon nobody uses. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.